Chapter 1: Financial Ties Between Psychiatrists and Pharmaceutical Companies. Ever wondered about the financial ties between psychiatrists and pharmaceutical companies? A comprehensive study exploring this relationship in the United States, as defined by the Physician Payment Sunshine Act, has unveiled some intriguing findings. Delving into the 2016 to 2017 Sunshine Act Open Payments Database, the research reveals that over half of active psychiatrists received payments from pharmaceutical manufacturers. The financial relationship is not evenly distributed, though. A small 2.8% of psychiatrists received a whopping 82.6% of these payments. The majority of these payments, about 71.4%, were for services and consulting fees. The study also identified the top 10 pharmaceutical manufacturers that paid the most to psychiatrists. Among these, Otsuka Pharmaceuticals, Alkermes, and Sunovion Pharmaceuticals were the top contributors, indicating a significant financial influence from these companies on the psychiatric field. This skewed distribution of payments, with a small number of psychiatrists receiving the majority of the funds, is certainly an interesting aspect of this financial relationship. Chapter 2: Nature of Payments and Implications. But what about the nature of these payments? The study found that gifts and food or beverage payments were common, but they made up a relatively small portion of the total payment. In contrast, compensation for services and consulting fees, which were received by a smaller proportion of psychiatrists, made up the bulk of the payment amount. These findings have profound implications for medical education, clinical practice, and research in the field of psychiatry. The financial relationships between psychiatrists and pharmaceutical companies could potentially influence these areas, underlining the need for increased transparency and public reporting of these relationships. Chapter 3: Distribution of Payments and Types of Payments. Consider this: over half of active psychiatrists, precisely 55.7%, received some form of payments from pharmaceutical manufacturers. This illustrates the significant financial relationships between psychiatrists and pharmaceutical companies in the United States. Looking closer at the types of payments, psychiatrists who received less than or equal to $20,000 were primarily given food and beverages, totaling $12.6 million or 65.2%. In contrast, the majority of payments to psychiatrists receiving more than $20,000 were for compensation for services, amounting to $61.7 million or 67.7%, or consulting fees, amounting to $12.1 million or 13.2%. This reveals a striking disparity in the types of payments received by psychiatrists based on the amount they received from pharmaceutical manufacturers. Chapter 4: Top Pharmaceutical Companies and Conclusion. The top pharmaceutical companies that paid the most to psychiatrists were Otsuka Pharmaceuticals Incorporated, with $20.4 million, Alkermes Incorporated, with $14.9 million, and Sunovion Pharmaceuticals with $14.8 million. These companies made up the majority of payments to psychiatrists, with Otsuka Pharmaceuticals being the highest payer. This study shines a light on the intricate financial relationship between psychiatrists and pharmaceutical companies, reminding us of the importance of transparency and public reporting in the field of psychiatry. It's a relationship worth understanding, and this study certainly provides a clearer view.